Well, what's up again there, guys? Brian here, D3 Topics Gamer, here to share with you another one of my worst best tier list ranking videos to share with you guys today. Now, in the light of the very successful release of Deadpool and Wolverine, which I will be sure to do a review for soon, I thought it would be cool to kind of look back and create a tier list ranking of some of the all-time worst superhero comic book movies of all time. And trust me, there have been many of those over the number of decades. However, this particular list of mine that I'm using is going to be based off of the 36 lowest rated comic book superhero films on Rotten Tomatoes. So if there's something that on my particular list that you know is a bad movie that is missing, that's why it's not here. This is strictly just done off of the Rotten Tomato ranking. And trust me, there's certainly a number of movies that are on this list that I'm actually surprised by, because there's actually some on here that I generally do think are good movies and personally enjoy. So that's what this ranking is based off. So if you do happen to enjoy this little ranking video of mine by the end, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to check me on my future videos. And remember, if any of you guys have any ideas for future reactions, rankings, or reviews, be sure to let me know what you would like to see in the comments down below, and I will be sure to get it to you as soon as I can. So without wasting any more time, my ranking for this particular video is going to start right about now. And as you can see, there is quite a wide collection of movies on here that, yeah, there's definitely some stinkers here, but yeah, there's definitely some on here that are actually quite a surprise. Now, the way that this particular tier list is breaking down is going from technically the worst, going from the top to movies I actually think are good, is going from absolute worst to I never want to see this again, to whatever, to delicious garbage, which is pretty much a term for guilty pleasure, and movies that I personally think are good. However, there are some on here, not many, that I never actually saw, because, or I didn't even know it would be considered a comic book superhero movie. So let's get the ones that I haven't seen just out of the way, because I do know there's some on here. So for one, I've never seen Howard the Duck. I've never seen Max Steel. I had no idea they made a Max Steel movie, because I do remember watching that when I was younger, but I really did not know they made one. What else haven't I not seen? Supergirl. I know of Supergirl, but I never saw it. And let's see. Thunder Force. Didn't see that one either. Underdog. Did not see that one either. And I literally have never heard of the movie Zoom. So, with that out of the way, let's just go in order of just what we have here, starting with Batman and Robin. Okay, I'm going to say this. I think even though Batman and Robin is clearly a bad film, I would say it's more of probably the ultimate guilty pleasure. And as long as I live, I will continue to defend it in the sense that had Batman and Robin not been what it was, we never would have gotten the Dark Knight trilogy. And I think that alone is enough to give it credit. Plus, it makes for a pretty fun laugh movie, and a movie that you can play a good drinking game to and get hammered with a group of friends. So that's why I just can't hate Batman and Robin. And I respect it, and I acknowledge its existence, and something that I think is certainly needed and recognized. So that's where I'll put that. Next, oh god, Batman v Superman. This one's rough, but I never want to watch this again. I have only seen this movie once, and I hated it. It is easily the worst thing that Batman or Superman have ever been a part of. I would even say that the porn parody of this is better than this, minus the sex. Because good God, this movie is a total disaster and came out way too soon. This to me was the beginning of the end of the DCEU, and it was only the second film in the series, so that says a lot. Next, Blade Trinity. This is kind of like a whatever. It's got some good moments, but overall it's kind of forgettable. I will say this. There was a certain cameo in, Deadpool and Wolverine that I literally never would have expected because of Blade Trinity. So that might give you a little hint of what's going on here. So that's where I'll put that. Next, Bulletproof Monk. I didn't know this was considered a superhero movie, but this is more of like a whatever. I think maybe I've seen it a couple times, but it's kind of forgettable. It maybe had some cool action scenes, but that's about it. So that's where I'd put it. Next, we have Catwoman. Yeah, this one's pretty bad. I've seen this once. It's just a mess. Halle Berry is so badly cast in here with this terrible script, awful villain, and it just doesn't work. I mean, this doesn't even really. I wouldn't even buy this as Catwoman. This is like something you would see in some sort of like fetish movie or something, which is why it doesn't work for me. So that's where I'll put it. Next, we have X-Men: Dark Phoenix. Oh, this one's pretty painful because this was not a good way for the like kind of rebooted X-Men franchise to end. I gotta put it in like a whatever. Maybe I would even say certainly below Blade Trinity. There was so much potential, but it kind of it has a somewhat balanced aspect of this is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad, but at the end of the day, it kind of has more bad. So it ends up in the negative for me. And again, this is technically the last Fox X-Men film. And this came after Logan, I believe. So that was, I just kind of wish this film just did not exist. And we just ended with Logan on a good note. So that's where I'd have to put that. Elektra. This one's also whatever. I've seen this once, but it wasn't so bad that I would never want to see it again. It was just I wasn't very all that interested. I mean, it served as a sequel to Daredevil, which I actually liked that movie. But Elektra was just not a character I was ever too interested in, even back then. So that's where I would put it. Fantastic Four. I would actually put this in delicious garbage. Not a great film, but it has some bright elements and some moments of humor that I generally do enjoy. So it's not quite what you would expect from a Fantastic Four film, but it is kind of goofy, and that is kind of what the Fantastic Four is all about. So that's where I would put that. However, this next one is a complete utter disaster, and the first member of the absolute worst, which is Fat Four Stick. This movie was literally created just so Fox could keep the rights, because there was this policy that if you didn't make a movie for a certain franchise in a certain amount of time, it would revert back to someone else. And so there's a number of examples where Fox or someone would produce a Fantastic Four film just so they could keep the rights. And this wasn't the first time that this has happened. There's another more infamous version of this that came up much earlier in the 90s. And this is just another example of it. But my God, this was just a total disaster. Nothing about this film worked. And they tried to make it kind of like, give it like a horror aspect, and even that didn't work. So yeah, that was a total insult to even the name Fantastic Four, which is why no one calls it Fantastic Four. It's Fant Four Stick. So yeah. Next, we have Daredevil 2. Believe it or not, I saw this in theaters and I like it. There's a number of moments in there that are actually pretty cool. I think Nicolas Cage is really in his element. It has like the proper amount of just wackiness and entertainment to the point where I generally do enjoy it. I wouldn't say it's a good movie by any stretch of the imagination, but heck, I saw this in theaters and I had a pretty good time with it. I certainly do like it a lot more than the first Ghost Rider, which I would say is kind of a whatever movie. I think the execution of the Ghost Rider at first was cool, but I think for me what really kills it is the villain. The primary villain is so stupid because, spoiler alert, up until this point, whenever the main villain, I can't even remember his damn name. I think he's like Blackheart or something. When he encounters Ghost Rider for the first time, his Penance Stare doesn't work on him. And so he has to get the Scroll of Souls. And then once he gets the Scroll of Souls, the Penance Stare works on him and he dies. So realistically, had he not gotten the stupid scroll that he was going after, he would have been perfectly safe. This is just another example of a villain just being absurdly stupid to the point where it kind of ruins the film. I think if they'd had like a better villain, it probably would have been, I think it could have at least got into the delicious garbage department, but heck, the villain really brought this movie down for me. Next is Green Lantern. You know the funny thing about Green Lantern? This movie was so forgettable. I actually saw Green Lantern and X-Men First Class the same day. I saw Green Lantern first, and then I saw X-Men First Class. And X-Men First Class was so good, when I got home that night, I had completely forgotten that I even saw Green Lantern that day until I opened up my wallet and found out I had a ticket for Green Lantern. That's how forgettable it was. But there was so much potential for this to be good, but it completely fell on its face, and I just don't want to watch it ever again. I mean, it's one thing to be bad, but to be forgettable to the point where I don't even want to watch it again. Plus, they also hinted that Sinestro was going to be, get the yellow ring, which he did at the end in like a post-credit scene, but that never really came anywhere. So, yeah. Next, Jonah Hex. This is kind of just I don't want to watch. It was not fun. It's just not. It wasn't even entertaining. Just to be funny. It was just an overall just bad film. So that's where I would put Jonah Hex. However, the next movie I would put on here is Judge Dredd, which I actually like. I would actually defend this film. Now, mind you, this movie did come out when I was 5 years old, so maybe it's just my childhood nostalgic that's kind of saving this film. But I think Stallone was okay in this role. I really did not know taking the whole helmet thing off was a big thing because, again, Judge Dredd apparently wasn't really a popular comic book here in the States. So if you didn't know anything about Judge Dredd, him taking off his helmet didn't seem like a big deal to me. I didn't find that out till I got to high school. But yeah, I generally do have fun with this film. This is something I've seen multiple times. I can quote it. I think there's some cool action set pieces in this film, especially the opening. Oh my god, I love the opening. But I will admit that Karl Urban's Dredd definitely takes a dump all over this film. But just for me personally, I really do like Judge Dredd in the 90s. I would defend it. I like it. But I will not defend his Morbius. That is worse. That is maybe not as bad as Fantastic, but yeah, it's pretty bad. Oh my god. This was a total disaster for a character who's already obscene. How the hell did Morbius get his own film before so many more recognizable Spider-Man villain characters? That is just sad. And it wasn't even, it was just, this hurt I would say this was a major black eye to every single actor who agreed to this script and wanted to be in here. They got a black eye from this. This was awful. Next, we have Punisher Warzone. I would put it in kind of delicious garbage because I didn't think it was that bad, but it just wasn't all that. I guess in that context, it would be a whatever. Because I think it got the character of Punisher right in terms of his personality, but I think that the plot just didn't work. With Jigsaw and his band of psychopaths and it just seemed like kind of just bare bones. Like it wasn't a really impressive story for a Punisher movie. So it's just kind of forgettable for me, really. Next is RoboCop 2. I actually like RoboCop 2. I think the RoboCop films did steadily decline in quality, but I would still say that RoboCop 2 still kind of falls into the good department. There's definitely a number of things that I like about it. I like the final fight, which is easily my favorite fight out of all the RoboCop films. So yeah, I don't really have too much to say about it, but yeah, I really do like this one. However, RoboCop 3 is more like delicious garbage. I think the only good thing I could say about this is that RoboCop gets some cool toys, and he has some okay fight scenes, and the cast isn't all that bad, and he does get the jetpack, which is pretty cool, and it did have a pretty fun game to tie in with it, so yeah, that's where I would put it. Oh dear Lord, Son of the Mask. Oh my god, this is worse. This is even worse than Fantastic. Ooh, this is... Yeah, that's way higher on the chain. Why did they make it? This is an example of a film that never needs to exist. There was no reason for it. Jim Carrey's The Mask never needed a sequel. I don't know who asked for a sequel. That movie was made in the 90s. This is clearly a sign of a movie that should not exist. Much like Morbius. So that's where it's going to sit. However, Spawn. I really like Spawn. Probably not as much as Judge Dredd, but I hope they make another Spawn film. Its visuals at the time were actually pretty good, even though nowadays they look like crap. They look like a lot of 90s CGI was. But yeah, I think they got the Spawn character pretty cool. I think the suit was really awesome. I think Michael J. White did a fantastic job as a Simmons. Yeah, I just think it's a good movie. Nothing great. I would totally be open for another Spawn film with another actor and another character. So yeah, that's where I would put it. Oh my Lord, Steel. I accidentally saw this, but even I knew this is so bad that I never want to watch it again. I mean, I'm sure Shaq is a cool guy, but like he is not the best actor. I found that out when I talked my dad into seeing Kazam, and yeah, I talked my dad into seeing Kazam in theaters as a kid, and even back then I was like, this guy isn't really all that good basketball player, but not really the best actor. Rough experience. So yeah, Suicide Squad. That's more of like a whatever. I think the other Suicide Squad movie after this was way better, but the first one, it's just a mess. It had a hard time figuring out its tone, so that's where I would put it. Next, we have Superman: Quest for Peace. This is another whatever. Like it's a whatever. Where would I put it? Maybe around here. I think by this point, Superman, just quality-wise, had been in the dumps. It had really been in the dumps since the third one. It never really, for Christopher Reeve, it never really got better than the second film. And I would say the third film has some good movie moments, but that's more of a Richard Pryor movie, so than a Superman film. So I guess the fourth one falls in that department. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Michael Bay's TMNT. I thought this was a whatever. It's not mine. This probably would work for a younger audience who saw this first, and this was their introductory. But as someone who grew up with the '90s TMNT, that's the one I gravitate towards, and therefore I wasn't really interested in this all that much. But I would say it's probably higher up on the whatever chart. Next is, oh dear God, the third one I grew up with. This one was awful. Secret of the Ooze was my favorite. I really loved the first one, but the third one, this one does not work. Even back then. I probably hate this more because I went into it wanting to really, really like it. All these other ones, are kind of obscure, but the third one I was generally disappointed with just how much me and my brother loved Secrets of the Ooze. So that's where that third one's going to go. Next, The Crow, City of Angels. I recently saw this one, and it is more of a whatever, but I don't think it's all that bad. It's certainly not anywhere near as good as the classic Brandon Lee Crow, of course, and I don't even think this upcoming one's going to be anywhere near that one. But I like how it tried to take the Crow story elements and do something different. I will give it credit for that, and I think that there's some elements of it I think it succeeds. I just don't think that the plot works all that well, and the villain is just all over the place to the point where it's just hard to take him seriously. But I do think the actor who played the Crow in this film did a very good job at giving his own interpretation of the character, and that's something I respect. So that's why I don't hate this one, but it just kind of falls into the whatever department. Next, League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I know that the authors for this book hated it, but I actually like this movie a lot. It's got some pretty cool elements. I think some of the aesthetics, some of the set design, some of the action set pieces, I would say this is a kind of a fun movie for me. However, this movie is surprising that it's on here, and that's The Punisher, as you can see I'm sporting. But The Punisher, that is a great film. Thomas Jane should have gotten a sequel. He should have gotten a trilogy. I saw this with my family in theaters, and we all had a fantastic time with this film. It brought us the creation of the term, we're gonna go Punisher on your ass, which me and my family would use a lot back then. And it's basically a term we would use when it comes to we're going to wipe out your entire bloodline or kill every member of your family. That's what the term we're going to go Punisher on your ass means. So I've seen that film multiple times. If I was doing a top 20 favorite comic book films, that probably would fall in that department. It would probably be somewhere between 15 and 20, but I generally do think this is a great film in my experience. Next is The Spirit. I never want to watch this again. I went into this kind of thinking it would be something like Sin City, and while visually it was that, it just was a total damn mess, and I only ever saw it once, and I immediately wanted my money back. And last, it is Power Rangers Turbo the movie, or Turbo Power Rangers the movie. Turbo was a dark time for Power Rangers. I really liked the first Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I saw that in theaters. I enjoyed it. Turbo, however, is a whatever movie. The question is, where would I put it? what's the point where I would watch that over? Yeah, right about there. I think all these other ones I would watch over Power Rangers Turbo, but yeah. So there it is. That is my tier list ranking of the 36 most lowest rated comic book movies from Rotten Tomatoes. Now, if you want to give a crack at it and how you would rank these and do a long comment list of your own style, you go right ahead. I'll be sure to check it out. So that is my ranking. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And like always, I want to thank you guys for watching. You're awesome. And I'll see you all next time.